Hey everyone, we're back on Luke Pierce's El Camino. Figured I'd show you some stuff. So we got the electronics panel stuff figured out. There's not much room behind the dash, even though it may look like it. So we opted to not mount everything behind the dash, just because when he hooks up all these hoses and whatnot for the AC and heat and defrost, we're out of space, we're out of real estate behind the dash. So we decided to make some stuff to work back here behind the seat. So the battery already had to be behind the seat, so we put two of our contactor setups right here. And then we opted to put his battery bulkhead pass-throughs through the floor back here. And when we go into the car, I'll show you why. And then here's his electronics panel. So we've got a bunch of stuff on here. Hardwire PDM28, injector driver module over here. There's a solid state relay that we're going to use for the trans brake. Even though we could run the trans brake with bump and everything through the PDM, I always opt to use the NOS solid state relay or the Holley solid state relay for the trans brake, just because I know it always works, it always reacts, it's never a problem. So then the Dominator is back here, and we've got a Davis profiler here for wheel speed management. So we're going to start running wires today. Just finishing up battery cables here. We had to finalize placement for some stuff, so we'll go underneath the car now and I'll show you what we got going on. Oh, before I go into the car, we put Holley's Retro Bright LEDs in here. These things are pretty awesome. If you've got a car that these drop into, they're extremely bright. He wanted yellow low beam and then like a bright white high beam. With the PDM28, we can set it up so, you know, like we can turn this one on, and then when we turn on the high beam, we can turn this off, or vice versa. We can do flash to pass, whatever, a whole bunch of different stuff. So also figured out the wiper motor, which will be controlled through the hardwire PDM with the keypad. Put the Mad Racing EGT setup in it. So this is the EGT setup that we usually default to. These bulkheads are awesome. You know, nice and easy to remove and install if you just got to pull the header. And it goes to the Holley CAN bus EGT module. Did a couple little more things with plumbing. These are his heater hoses that we made from Brown & Miller. So the threads for the heater hoses are actually AN threads, but they don't have a taper in the front half of them. So figured if you guys are interested and you ever do this, I found, where'd they go? These right here. There we go. There's the part number that you can get from Summit. And okay, don't want to come out. All right, okay. There we go. These are little taper seat adapters, so it gets the ACO ring right there, and then it turns it into a 37-degree flare. So pretty sweet. But anyway, we're gonna go. Oh, and then there's the Davis VPS. So let's go up underneath of this thing and take a look. All right, let's go underneath of this guy. So again, Holley Retro Bright lights. They're sweet. Here's his AC condenser. We had Matt at Performance Fab weld some bungs on for the radiator. More plumbing stuff, not really super important. But let's look underneath here. So we've already wired up the battery cables and whatnot. I'll show you in the back here in a minute. Little note for everybody. This is a ground that's ran to this block, okay? And then this is a ground wire that's ran to this block, to the mid plate. Now, most people are like, well, mid plate's a bare aluminum and then you got bare steel here and yada yada. I do not rely upon that connection because over time it will corrode. So we use pure oxygen-free copper cable to do our grounding. I've made other videos on grounds and it's important, so you should watch them. But anyway, here's some cool stuff that's underneath of here. This is his pump gas system. We used a FluidWorks by Motion fuel filter. So we've got a 10 AN Brown & Miller line coming in, and then 2 8s coming out. And I used a direct thread ORB to ORB little adapter right here to direct thread the Motion flex fuel mount right to it. This is an old mount that he had. It worked out well because mounting, this thing is sturdy, right? Mounting, we went through the floor pan for the filter, and then we also mounted the flex sensor bracket to the bar. So we kind of just played around with this for a little bit until we found the right location, and then, you know, drilled and tapped. We've got a flex sensor, again, 2 Brown & Miller 8 AN lines coming out. They feed the back of the pump gas rails. And then on this side, we've got the big boy FluidWorks filter, 1 in, dual out. And I like these filters a lot because you don't have to put a Y anywhere. It cuts down on, you know, leak points. So this is for the methanol system. I'm pretty sure this one will flow all the way up to like 35, I think it's like 35 gallons a minute. Way more than we need, right? Which is good. So we've got a 12 AN line coming from the mechanical pump, and then 2 10s coming up right here. So, and these will be, here you go. You can kind of see way up in there. There you go. They go up over top of the transmission. Put the good low-car dipstick on the 4L80. So this is a pretty baller 4L80. It's got a reed case, whole 9 yards. Again, Brown & Miller lines for all that stuff. Dash 8. Here's the thing that everybody keeps asking about. This is the electric AC compressor. So we mounted it down here. It's underneath the passenger floorboard. This is the AC compressor computer, a control module, power in, and then there's 3 legs coming out. To me, it looks like a DC-AC converter. I don't really know what it is. The instructions that you got there, it's from China, so like, and I don't speak Chinese or whatever it is, so the instructions are a little unclear, but it's simple to hook up. You know what I mean? We got power and ground coming in. It's labeled. Probably can't see it in this, but you have power and ground coming in. It's labeled. There's a ignition trigger wire that's going to come from our vintage air system to turn this thing on. And then you've got your 3 legs coming out that go to the compressor right here, and they're labeled, right? So it says like W, V, and U. This says W, V, and U. You just, you know, run them to a corresponding. We churched it up, you know, sleeved everything, sealed it all off. Here's the bottom of those pass-through bulkheads. So as you can see, this is why we did this. This is a high current drawing unit, right? Like this is going to draw a bunch of power. So we wanted to be able to get it to as close to the battery as we can. And the battery's like right up here, right? It's like right through here on the floor. Plus, instead of doing the normal, like what we would normally do is do pass-throughs up here, the way this chassis lays out, there's so much space between the floor pan and these bars, it just made sense to run everything underneath the car. So like, obviously this isn't all finalized all through here. It looks a little sloppy, so don't judge us too bad. But this, it's not all finalized because we still have to do the fuel pump drive cable right here from the fuel pump. So what we'll do is we'll come off of here with the fuel pump drive cable, attach it to this bar, and then cross over and attach it to this bar here. It'll run through here, up through here, then it'll come, we'll have to do a little bracket off of this probably, and then probably get somebody like Matt to make us a little bracket that comes off the pan rail here, and then goes right into the back of the Motion Raceworks fuel pump drive, so which is right there. The fuel pump drive cable stuff, I've got thousands of miles on it, and it's been really good to me. The key to it is supporting it is everywhere, and making sure it stays as straight as you can get it. So But anyway, yeah, so there's the back side of that little grommet that's underneath of that that electrical panel. So like a lot of his wiring is going to come out of here. The stuff that has to go to the driver's side of the car is going to come up over here, attached to this lip that's here, and then run up here over to the fuel pumps, the pump gas fuel pumps, and then down here along this bar to go forward. The stuff that's going to stay on this side will run forward on this bar. The stuff that has to go to the back of the car will run up this bar, up and along the frame rail where we attached those transport lines. So those are all like P-clamped up there nice and tight. And they come back here to this transport right here. So, yeah, this thing's pretty bitchin'. We made some good progress on it. I'm hoping to have it wrapped up here, you know, soonish. You know what I mean? Probably another week or so. But when we get it all wrapped up, we'll make another video. You know, I'll show you guys kind of the process of, you know, programming the transmission stuff, programming the PDM, doing all that kind of stuff. Basically, as long as y'all want to actually hear what I got to say. Oh, another little tidbit. We're using the, kind of hard to see up in there. Yeah, the TIC Performance Hall Effect 4L80 setup. These work a lot better. I highly recommend doing this over the stock sensor. So a lot nicer, way nicer than the stock sensor. So, oh, and let's look at this. So I started this video this morning, and then I got sidetracked and didn't finish it, and then we started working. So here's our panel that's inside the car, or that was inside the car in the video that earlier in this video. So PDM 28's all populated. It's all coming together right here to a central branch point. This is literally like a lot of foot of wire. I don't know, I don't have full measurements in front of me here, but we have measurements of every single wire that goes in every single car. But there's a boatload of wire, and we barely even broke into what we got to do for the ECU. So I've had people message me and ask me, like, you know, how long does it take for you to wire a car? We usually wire a car, like if it's a car like this, like it's a drag and drive car, and all we're doing is wiring it, we can usually get it done in like, you know, 10 to 14 days. Sometime, but the problem is that most of the time these cars don't ever come to us as like, hey, it's just wiring the car. And what I mean by that is it shows up, and this is nothing like, I'm not mad about this or complaining about this, but like just wiring the car would be, hey, I've got everything mounted already in the car where I want it. I've already got all my parts that I need. I've already got, the whole car's plumbed. It's full of fluids. I got a drive shaft, the fuel pump drive cables in it, you know, yada, yada. All that stuff's done. We don't have to spend a bunch of time trying to figure this out and figure out where to put this and this, and then let's get them parts for this. And so to answer the question, how long does it take us to wire a car like this, like a drag and drive car? This will land, wiring wise, this will land somewhere in the neighborhood of like 80 to 100 hours. If you are genuinely interested in us wiring the car for you, I'm thrilled to do it, and we're thrilled to quote you. And know that if I quote you on a job, that even if I misquote you, right? Even if I misquote you, I stick by my word, and we will not charge you more than we quote you. So now, if you show up and you said, yeah, I just want you to wire it via the quote, and then you show up and you go, by the way, I also need you to plumb the car and need you to make a whole bunch of stuff for it, and yada yada, then obviously that's going to affect your bill. But I am a man of my word. If I tell you that it's going to take me 50 hours to do the job, and it takes me 70, you're only going to get billed for 50. And on the flip side, if like the last car, the orange car that was just sitting right there, just got picked up yesterday. On the flip side of that, I quoted him 60 hours to wire that car. I think 60 or 65 hours to wire that car. And we got it done in like, I don't know, 10 hours quicker than I quoted him. And guess what? He got billed 10 hours less than what I quoted him. And he was like, what the heck? I don't get it. I'm like, well, I'm honest. So, yeah, if you're interested in us doing a car for you, hit us up, hcrinnovations.com. Be happy to do it. Our schedule is, I don't know. You have to hit us up and ask and talk to Laura. I don't know what our schedule is. I think we're booking for jobs towards the end of the year, maybe in the beginning of next year. I really don't know. So anyway, we'll see you for the third rendition of this video. See you.